Hey folks, my name is Brad, and if you happen to be new to my channel, I search the mountains of Vermont with my metal detector looking for old treasures lost by the pioneers that settled this state. And today I find myself at this reservoir, a reservoir that has had its water substantially drained, so much so that all of the old buildings that used to be in this valley that were flooded in the early 1900s are now exposed, as well as any treasures they may have left behind that I hope to find today. Now, if you happen to be new to my channel, I post one of these videos every single Friday, so if you like what you see here today, consider hitting that subscribe button or just come on back next week. I'm gonna get that metal detector out and see what we can find here today. Very, very loud 85 right here. Sounds like it's right under the surface of the mud. It's a fish. Got a little fishing lure to be expected here. Funny. 84, very shallow. I'm just gonna kick the dirt here. Yeah, already moved it. Can we just spot it? Yeah. Looks like a small scent. Nice, it's an Indian. So shallow too. Look how beautiful this side is. So the story goes, this whole area was farmland. Behind me was the farm, the home. You can imagine the people as they were here, they were living their lives, they were dropping things accidentally every so often, much like this coin. But once it was flooded here, the water started eroding the ground. Topsoil is long gone. And some of the things we're finding are very, very close to the surface, and a lot of the things like pottery and glass are on the surface. This Indian head scent, you saw me just kick the dirt away, is very, very shallow. Unfortunately, the face side is not very nice looking. I think that's an 05 or a 95, 1895, 1905. But this side, look at that, beautiful. And if it is 1905, it wasn't made very long before this whole valley was flooded. And these folks had to move. Such a cool find. This is a little area that I have not ever been before. The water is far lower than I've ever seen. I've never had the opportunity to metal detect this area. So hopefully there's more where this came from. Let's find out. So I'm walking along, metal detecting kind of the edge of this gravelly bar. And you can see there's pieces of bottle all over the place, glass. Check this out. That is a very broken fragment of a clay pipe. Just the bowl and a little bit of the stem. Never been very good at finding these, spotting them with my eyes, but I'm starting to get the hang of it. Found a few of them now. Awesome. I've got a really, really loud 82 right here, and I think I see it. I'm not sure what it is. You see this right here? Oh my gosh, is that? It is. Insane. On top of the ground. Man, I cannot believe this. It was just a few weeks ago, I was metal detecting a place exactly like this. An old farm from 1850, the early 1900s, covered up with water. And I found a piece of a colonial era shoe buckle, just like this one. This piece is called a chape. You can imagine a piece of leather, a strap would have gone through this on the top of a shoe worn in the 1700s, very, very early 1800s, predating most of the habitation of this place by at least 100 years. It's wild that these things, specifically this piece of a shoe buckle, keeps turning up. And this one on top of the ground. Come on, how often can you just spot with your eyes something from more than likely the 1700s just laying on top of the ground? Amazing. And I've talked about over and over in my videos how much I love finding shoe buckles and pieces of shoe buckles because of how iconically colonial America they are. You can imagine somebody dressed as a stereotypical pilgrim with buckles on their shoes and hats with one of these attached to it. Incredible. I wonder if we could possibly find colonial era coinage, the rest of the shoe buckles, buttons. I haven't found any of that yet today, but man, this has my hopes up. So cool. Well, let's see if we can find the rest of it. '84. I see. Yeah, that's another Indian head scent. This one doesn't seem to be in as good a shape as the last one, unfortunately, but beautiful. Another old coin. All right, here we have a very loud 88. It almost sounds like it's sheet metal. Let's find out. Oh, I see it. It is sheet metal. Wow. What better evidence of a home than pieces of furniture? This one happens to be from a dresser or something that had drawers. It's a little bit hard to make out because of how dirty it is at the moment, but hopefully you can make out all of these beautiful swirls and designs in this. This would have been mirrored over here on this side, and this would have been an escutcheon behind a little drawer pull, likely on a cabinet or something that had drawers. This would have been a little hanging style. You can imagine an entire dresser or cabinet covered with these. They would have been golden brass, polished up brass at the time. A beautiful piece of furniture, I'm sure. And here we have a fragment of it at the beach around all of these stone ruins from the building that it was once in. Somewhat of a common find, but you know, no two are ever alike. Very, very ornate. The engraving is beautiful. I love finding things like this. It's so personal. The person that owned it would have been interacting with this perhaps daily. So cool. All right, see if maybe we can find some more of these today. Oh, there's a beer can right there. This kind of sounds like more of it. 85 right on top, it sounds like. Oh, I moved it. We have this. Well, that's not a beer can, is it? Incredible. It's an old brass buckle, and I don't believe it to be knee buckle, shoe buckle, any of that colonial type fashion. I have to guess this is probably horse tack, but that's cool. Pretty shallow too, right next to a beer can. Awesome. Well, I'm in this area where there's just a ton of broken glass and brick, and I got this target, 86, and you can see it. It's right on top. Looks like it's a modern nickel almost. Oh my goodness. Is this a 2 cent? It is a 2 cent. That's insane. Right on top with all this brick and glass. We have, I can almost even make out the date. 1864. How long has that been sitting there like that? I am always blown away when we find very old coins from hundreds of years ago just laying on top of the ground. You didn't even need a metal detector to find this one. You could have just spotted it walking by. And I found a few in the past, a couple in the woods, probably brought up by frost heaves, a couple in old dirt roads, and a couple at places like this. Makes sense, the water would have eroded the topsoil away, exposing all of this stuff. And here we have an amazing old 2 cent coin. A lot of people probably don't even know we had 2-cent coins, but here we can see 1864. This side, unfortunately, was facing up to the elements, so we can't see much of it, but hopefully you can see the 2 in the center there. 2-cent coins, 3-cent coins, some of my favorites to find because we just don't hear about them. We don't think about them. They don't exist in our US money anymore. So it's always a treat to find one. So cool. As I'm walking along, I am spotting things with my eyes. I didn't happen to find this one with my eye. I used my metal detector, but old fragments of pipe, pottery, some really beautiful pieces of pottery, glass, old bottle fragments. What a cool place to just spend the day. Even if you're not into metal detecting, just picking up these little treasures, little glass buttons, everything. So cool. $79. Whoa, what do we have here? Oh, nice. P.O. Co., it looks like. 187. Okay. PC Co. I've actually found these in the past, variations of them, and based on my previous research, I'm fairly confident this was a container company. They made crates and barrels, containers for things like paint. And from that previous research, I wasn't able to actually figure out whether this was an employee tag, something they would use to essentially clock in, if there were keys attached to this. But I think the conclusion that I came to was that it is, in fact, something that was attached to the container itself, because I have found probably half a dozen of them now. We have to assume the 187 refers to the product itself, whatever that may be. But as I had mentioned before, it may be an employee tag. This business, I believe it was in New York, isn't too far away. It's too far away for a daily travel, but the employee may have lived there for a period of time and then moved here. Hard to say, but it is very, very cool. PC Co. And I have found several tags similar to this at a place very similar to this. And the comments were just full of people saying that they were cattle tags. But I can assure you that that is not what this is, nor were the previous ones I found. Something else entirely, with a much more interesting history, I think. Sounded and looked just like a big old copper coin when it popped out, but maybe next time. Well, I don't know what that is. Iron candy cane. But we have a super loud 89. I mean, that sounds like a hubcap. It's buckle. Not a hubcap. Very shallow. Probably horse or oxen tack to go along with my, well, maybe it's reindeer tack to go along with my iron candy cane. What the heck this thing is. Not far from where I just found that 2-cent coin. I saw kind of a weird shape, just the top of that up there, and I went like this. Anybody know what that is? Awesome. Well, we have yet another artifact found just laying on top of the ground. What an awesome place this is. And it happens to be an old rusty pair of scissors. Not a treasure, but for some reason, anytime I find old 100, 150-year-old scissors, I think they're so cool. I always bring them home, clean them up, and put them on display. So these would have no doubt been used for repairing clothes, making clothes, maybe even in the kitchen. Obviously a very important tool for lots of different things. This pair does look like a smaller set. I would guess it was for cloth. You know, it's funny, I probably wouldn't have dug up that target. It would have been a low iron grunt. I would have walked right by it. So since it was on top, I was able to see it. Now I'll be able to bring them home and clean them up, put them on display. So cool. 71. Whoa. What is that? Huh. Let's go get this cleaned off in the water. Huh. Beautiful. Now, when I first laid my eyes on this thing, I thought it was going to be a suspender clip, a very, very common thing to find at sites from this time period. But as I looked at it a little bit more, and then I finally got it washed off in the water, it's very obvious it is not a suspender. And there's a little flower up here. I can't exactly tell what's going on with the design. It looks like maybe it's all floral. And there's a hole at the bottom and there's a hole at the top. So I'm leaning towards jewelry. It is brass, but it was very likely gold plated. The two holes lead me to believe might be part of a larger necklace, might be part of a bracelet, maybe a pendant with something hanging down below. In any case, what a beautiful surprise, some old Victorian jewelry just hiding below the sand here at this beach. I've never really seen anything quite like it. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think this was a part of? Was it hanging from something, something hanging down below, a bracelet, rosary, just a tiny little sheet of brass with a pretty design stamped into it. Amazing. All right, folks, well, unfortunately, it is starting to drizzle. And although it is April, this drizzle is supposed to turn into over a foot of snow for me in the next 48 hours. So I'm gonna get home out of the rain, get that wood stove lit up, and make sure I still have gas in my snowblower. We found some awesome stuff today. Old coins, some really kind of surprising artifacts. Got them all laid out on this stone. Let's take a look. All right, folks, well, here we have the treasures for the day. Starting in the back, we have a few pieces of iron, the scissors, we have our mystery candy cane piece of iron, we have one harmonica reed, I believe this is a drawer pull, a whole bunch of buckles over here, table knife, I believe this to be a bridal rosette, a bunch of lures. I actually found a few more also. These are the big brass ones. Our container tag, 187, little piece of a pipe stem, a beautiful piece of ironstone china, pocket knife, an incredible shoe buckle shape. The second one I have found at a drained lake, completely out of place from the rest of the stuff, but I'm more than happy to find it. Several buttons, an escutcheon from a piece of furniture, our mystery pendant of some kind, and the coins. I did end up finding 4 Indian head cents and the 2-cent coin with the date of 1864. All in all, a fantastic day. Old coins, treasures, relics, what more could you ask for? All right, folks, well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you next week for another adventure somewhere out here in Vermont with hopefully no snow.